YB stays on your neck.
Yo, my dons, make sure you hit that like button, comment, subscribe, and obviously hit the bell for notifications. So as you've seen by the title, this is how I believe Anthony Joshua should react to the Fury fight. Now we know AJ ain't going to say nothing like Dylan White just said, but it needs to be said. It really does, because I hope one thing AJ can learn from this last few weeks is there's been a lot of snakes hiding on the sidelines, waiting to pounce. People like Dave Allen, there's a lot of people who should be grateful to AJ. British boxing, in world boxing, should be grateful to AJ. Yeah? You think Dave Allen wouldn't be making squat? He wouldn't be fighting no one without AJ, that's what we do know. The reason Eddie Hearn got so much money to sponsor all these bum fighters with, who have lost and had wars with complete bums, Dave Allen wouldn't know the first thing about fighting Ruiz. Talking about, oh yeah, Joshua quitting. Oh yeah, Joshua couldn't handle Ruiz. Neither could you, boss. You've had literally life and death wars. Without the fans supporting you, without AJ and Eddie Hearn supporting you, no doubt, you wouldn't be doing squat. So you've got to remember where your bread's buttered. But he's not the only one. The point of this video is, Fury came out, talked about how Joshua's mentally weak and all this sort of business. Bearing in mind as well, Joshua's been the one Olympic champion. Has Joshua had to have 3 years off because he mentally broke down? Has Joshua failed a PED test? Yeah? Has Joshua gone off the rails and never defended his belts? No. Has Joshua... See what I'm trying to say? Has Joshua defended his belts back to back against the next best available opponent? Every single fight Joshua's had in the last probably 10 fights, he's fought the next best available opponent. Never has Joshua had a draw against someone, ducked the rematch, and then talked about, oh, I need more warm-up fights. Oh, I need more warm-up fights. But yet, this dude Fury has the audacity to talk about how, oh, Joshua is mentally weak. I think it's mentally weak to have a draw against someone and run off and duck the rematch. That's what I think is mentally weak. What's Joshua done? He lost against Ruiz and he's straight back in the lion's den. But yet, Joshua's the mentally weak one. Joshua's the one who quit. Well, I'm going to define quitting from now on. Quitting is when you draw a fight and you duck the rematch and run off and talk about how you need a warm-up fight. That's what you call scared. Has Joshua, even though Joshua lost embarrassingly, have you heard Joshua? Joshua lost more embarrassingly than Fury did. Have you seen Joshua run off and talk about how he needs warm-up fights? And bearing in mind as well, Fury's the one who always goes on about, oh yes, I'm the fighting man. Fighting runs through my blood. I fight anyone. Well, you won't fight anyone, will you? You'll fight Thomas Schwartz. That's what you'll do. You'll fight warm-up fights. That's what you'll do. You won't fight anyone. In fact, it's funny. You say you'll fight anyone, but the fact of the matter is, you will literally fight anyone. Any random nobody, you mean. That's what you mean by anyone. You don't mean anyone with any bottle. Anyone who's any good. Because Dylan White's chomping at the bit to get his hands on you. I told you this before. All you Fury fans. Fury is the sweetest smelling heavyweight since David Price. Seriously. Everyone wants to get their hands on Fury. Everyone's chomping. Put it this way. Who doesn't want to fight Fury? Let's do it that way. I was about to say who does, but we can't. We'll be here all day naming lists. Who doesn't want to fight Fury? Everyone's lining up for it. Sweet smelling aromas. Absolutely sweet smelling. That's what we do know. But anyway, to the point of this video. AJ, all the things I've talked about now, AJ should come out and expose this dude. Expose him straight to the public. Bearing in mind as well, do you know what's shocking about this situation? That fight was on pay-per-view in the UK at 4 AM. Wow. People slag. This makes me laugh, you know. All the Fish Eyes fangirls, all the Box Nation, all the Queensberry fangirls. People talk about Eddie Hearn fangirls, yeah, and Matchroom fangirls. Now, what we need to talk about is the people who supported Fury versus Schwartz on pay-per-view. Are you joking? Seriously. People slag off White versus Rivas on pay-per-view. Is White versus Rivas a real true pay-per-view fight? No, but when you've got Fury versus Schwartz at 4 AM on pay-per-view, you're damn sure White versus Rivas is pay-per-view at 10 PM prime time. Seriously. But this is how desperate Fury and Fish Eyes are. They're all desperate because they've got to make money somehow. So instead they're going to... It's funny, you don't hear about Frank Warren talking about robbing the fans anymore or conning the fans, do you? Fury versus Schwartz tickets were all over StubHub, may I add, as well. But don't worry, we're going to expose the whole ticket scenario. We're going to expose the ticket situation. Don't worry. There's YB's on the case. Because I'm not having it. Someone's got to do this. I'm sick of all the injustice out there. All the AJ haters that have popped out of the woodworks and got so much to say. But where's the same smoke for Fury? Yeah? You were all the ones sitting there talking about, oh no, Fury didn't take the Wilder rematch because Wilder signed a 3-fight plan. No, Fury told you he needed warm-up fights, aka he shook. You haven't heard AJ say that. AJ's in the line den looking for all the smoke. He wants all the smoke all the time. No warm-up fights, no bottling your career. Literally, Fury bottled his career, and that's the other thing I completely forgot. What else do we know about Fury? Fury is the continual. He ducks rematches. He doesn't dare fight people twice because he knows you can only fiddle around. You can only feint around one fight. You can't do it twice. Vladimir Klitschko would have come back in the rematch. In fact, it'll be funny if Fury does get in the ring with Deontay Wilder. I'm telling you now, you are going to see why Fury does not want rematches. You're going to see why Fury has to have 17 warm-up fights before he dares do a rematch because he knows. He knows people have his number. And when you see Fury flat on his back after 6 rounds, you want to know, oh wait there a minute, what YB was saying was right. Now we all know why he ducked the Vladimir Klitschko fight and ran away and retired. He had to retire, he didn't dare go in there again. He's doing the similar thing now. Instead he hasn't retired, he's just ran off and fighting bums instead. But yet AJ is the mentally weak one. How interesting is that? But anyway, AJ's not going to do this, but since he won't, the YB will. And everyone else with a bit of brain should do this. Every single thing Fury does, he gets a bly for it. He gets let off. AJ's the one who's carried UK boxing and world boxing on his back for how many years? Never let up. No excuses. I may have made excuses for AJ, but he's never made none. Every day on point, pulling the sport on his back. No doubt. All the hating ass dudes, and someone's got to be doing this, man. I wish I had more of a voice as well, because all of these inconsistencies, they need to be out there. Simple. And that fight we just watched was an absolute shocker. And it's for me, what gets me the most is the I'm trying to think. Yeah, I remember AJ versus who was it? AJ fought someone not long ago, and they were complaining about that being on pay-per-view as well. Where was the uproar? Honestly, I didn't see no one complaining about Fury versus Schwartz on pay-per-view. What's that about then? Oh, it's only you can't criticize Fury. He'll go off the rails again. Anthony Joshua quit. He's no good. He's mentally weak. Yeah, okay, he's mentally weak. You ran off for 3 damn years, bruv. You duck rematches all the time. You duck Wilder the second time. Yeah? That's what we do know. And you want to talk about your Lineal champion. You didn't even defend your belts. In fact, Fury's literally never fought as a world champion. Fury's never been world champion before. Ever. He's never stepped in the ring as a world champion. And that's why he's plugging. That's the other thing. Gets me. The last thing I'll say on this is Anthony Joshua won the belts. This is what really grates on me. And this is another reason why AJ should come out and say something. AJ's the one. Fury bottled it. If Fury had kept the belts, AJ would have had to have come through him to get the belts. Instead, Fury bottles the rematch, gives up the belts, and AJ goes and collects them all. Yeah? He's the world champion. He's the Lineal champion, if the truth be known. If there was ever any Lineal champion based on balls, based on belts, based on who wants actual smoke, based on who actually wants to fight the best to be the Lineal champion, it would have been AJ. In fact, it was AJ. That's what we do know. And Fury comes out and talks about, yes, Anthony Joshua, he got my belt out of the bin. He got them out of the bin. He got them out of the bin. Are you joking? You knew AJ. Listen, AJ folded you in 2011 in sparring, and you knew. Listen, if Vlad don't get me in this rematch, your boy AJ is gonna fold me again on the main stage. And you thought, you know what? It's best for me to get out of Dodge and make an excuse. What I gotta get out of here. And that's what he did. He ducked the smoke for 3 years. He didn't want no problems. But that's another thing. As I was saying, this is my last point. What else gets on my nerves is BT and ESPN Top Rank. They have the audacity to disrespect World Championship boxing by calling Fury versus Schwartz a World Championship fight. Are you joking? That disrespects everyone who's ever held a belt. Your boy hasn't got no damn belts. The Lineal champion does not count. Vladimir was never the Lineal champion ever. Vitali was. Vitali was the one with a chin. Vladimir was chinny.com. That's what we do know. Vladimir had no gas tank. Vitali was the true Lineal champion. And he retired. And Vladimir didn't fight for WBC, so never became Lineal champion. That's what we do know. Simple. No doubt. But anyway, they're my thoughts. They're all the things that Joshua should just start coming out and murking these guys. Because everyone's got something to say about his mentality. Everyone's got something to say about, this, that, the other. But in reality, this is what's really happened. Fury robs the fans. Fury bottles it. And then everyone wants to suck him off for knocking over a tin can. And part of me wants to sit here and say, you know what? If AJ beats Ruiz, I hope, in some parts of me hopes he just says, you know what? I'm just going to fight a load of stiffs now. Because that's exactly what Fury's doing. Everyone's got to support it. What do you mean? What do you mean we're going to get the Fury fight in 6 fights? We're going to get the Wilder fight in 6 fights' time. It should be happening now. That's what he should be doing. And that's what AJ will be doing. If AJ had we know for a fact, AJ had a loss against Ruiz, he's straight back in there. Never mind having a draw, he'd be straight back in there. That's the difference in mentality. Killer and talker.